All right, well, let's dive in here. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining the Nansen Community Open Meeting. I think this might be the first of its nature, at least on Zoom. And we're just at a place here where we're beginning the season, and we're also kind of continually talking about long-range planning for the club. And we wanted to make sure that we got all voices in the mix when it comes to steering the future of our group. We recently held a member survey where we'll share the results of that a bit later. And we're hoping that if folks have any feedback or any questions about what's going on with the club, that they, at the very end of the session, we'll open it up to the floor and anybody who wishes to say something may. My name is Sean Marquis. I'm the president of the Nansen Ski Club. I'm now in my second year, I think, as a board member. And I'll also be presenting alongside with Scott Halverson, who you see here on your screen, who is the grandson of Alf Halverson, who was really the driving force to getting both the Nansen ski jump happening, but also really led a vibrant period of time for the Nansen Ski Club. So super happy to have him aboard, and we'll be hearing from him in a few about what's going on with the jump. Just to jump around and let everybody else know who's on the board. We have Melissa LaPlante, who's joining us here tonight. She's our vice president. CJ Galloway is our treasurer. Phoebe Backler is a director. Jane Brannon is a director. Sean Costello is a director and also the chair of our ski jump committee. Faith Kimball, who's joining us here tonight, and also Maureen Ramsey round out the rest of the directorship here. For those who don't know much about the Nansen Ski Club, our mission is to bring winter fun and recreation to the people of Berlin and its surrounding environs. We're the oldest continuously operated ski club in America, and we're 100% volunteer operated, meaning that the person who's getting up at 5 a.m. and scraping off their car and then going up and scraping off the groomer and doing the 5-hour track is doing it just to bring skiing and winter recreation to the people of the North Country. We operate a network of grooms Nordic ski trails up at Milan Hill State Park, where we have a warming hut and also ski and snowshoe equipment to loan out. We've held ski school programs where we partnered with the Milan Village School to introduce young folks to skiing and snowshoeing. And in general, the club values inclusivity along all spectrums. And one component of that is to keep the cost of our member passes affordable. So folks can ski at Nansen all season long for the price that it generally costs to ski at a weekend elsewhere. Another important arm of the club that's been working hard as of late and beyond is working to bring ski jumping back to the area at the Nansen ski jump site on the Berlin-Milan line, taking on the major task of restoring the existing jump and now also building a series of smaller jumps on the site so local folks can kind of work their way up to going off the big one. We hold a winter carnival each year, which is generally a weekend full of outdoor events. And we also dot our schedule with smaller events, open ski days, full moon skis, things of that nature. So we thought we'd begin the session here with some news and updates. And given that there's a lot to share, I thought we'd begin with Scott talking about what's going on with the Nansen ski jump site and getting everybody up to speed with what's happening over there. So Scott, if you're up for it, you can take the mic and run with it.
Thank you, Sean. Yes, I've been with the Nansen Ski Club for only, let's see, three years now, but it's been an honor. That it's a great group. You know, they're the ones that kept it all going here. The cross country trails, you know, they got kicked out of success, and somehow had the gumption to go up and partner with a state of New Hampshire with Milan State Park, and so it's quite an impressive group. And of course, I got involved with the ski jump. I live in southern New Hampshire, and so I like to say that I'm the southern ambassador for the Nansen Ski Club, but I do spend a lot of time up in Berlin. We have a camp on Cedar Pond, My brother Brett is also very, very much involved, and Janet, his wife, is on this call. They've been huge supporters. So enough about me. The jumps, yes, as you know, if you've been following along at all, you know, the restoration kind of got started in 2015, and the jump got cleaned up, and Sarah Hendrickson, former World Cup champion, went off in 2017. The thought up to that point was, oh, geez, you know, we just have to restore this structure. This is an incredible structure for the country. Say nothing about little Berlin, New Hampshire. It was the world's tallest when it was built. But when Sarah went off, I think it inspired a lot of us that, you know, this jump really needs to be used again. It's been a battle. It's been a lot of work, a lot of obstacles, but many of them have been overcome, and there's a few more to deal with. Where we stand now is the landing hill has been completely reprofiled. There's grass growing there as we speak. Lee Corrigan is the contractor. He did a magnificent job. Also part of his contract is the building of a retaining wall on the knoll, which will support what is called a false knoll, which is kind of a wooden platform, because the distance from the takeoff down to the ground is too far for jumpers' safety. So you have to build this artificial knoll. So that's ongoing as we speak. I just was in communication with Lee today, and they'll be pouring the wall next week. And Sean just put up the kind of the rendering of the jump, and I wish I could see the numbers, but so the part we've done, not that, I think 4 is the retaining wall, and that will be done in a week or 10 days. And then probably it's either 10 or 6 is the reprofiling of the hill. That will be complete. And also the outrun will also be complete this year. We still need to install deflection boards on the landing hill. We chose not to do it because of the high cost, because they were afraid they were going to encounter ledge, and so the bid would be based on that. So instead of doing that, we actually had the contractor dig out where they would be going to check for ledge, and if there was some, to remove it. So when we do put them in, it's going to be all clear. So that's been done also. So that is pretty much phase 1. Phase 2 will be the structural reinforcement of the tower itself. The tower is in great shape for 1937. It still is in great shape for 1937 standards. Unfortunately, standards have changed quite a bit, and the bar is quite a bit higher. So in doing our last study, there is some structural reinforcing to be done, which will cost hundreds of thousands of dollars. That's the bad news. The good news, if you read today's paper, Shaheen has put in a $500,000 request for the structural reinforcing of the Nansen. So if that budget gets passed, we will have that money to do that task. No strings attached. No match required. So let's hope it passes. That would be phase 2. Phase 3 would be the renovations on the tower themselves. The profile would change. That would probably add another couple $100,000 to the project with starting gates. And then you have the judges stand, which is not required to hold an event, but we definitely want it. And that would be phase 3. So yes, we have to raise some money, but we've gotten some, as I said, some very, very good news with the direct spending request. I also got I've recently been contacted by a major donor that they just don't want to plunk the money in our ski jumping fund, but when we have a need, like we need a big match for a grant and so on and so forth, they are willing to step to the plate, and that's only one. We kind of put the fundraising for the Big Nansen on pause when we found out about the structural reinforcing need and cost, and we concentrated on creating our new 40-meter jump, which was another project that had its obstacles, and we've managed to overcome them all. Again, Lee Coro again will be the contractor. He's the 40-meter jump will be right next door to the Big Nansen. There was a jump there in the 70s for a short period of time, and that's the base of our new jump. Did we encounter ledge? Of course we did. We live in the Granite State. So that was the last obstacle that we had to overcome. Again, we got a fantastic response from people, especially in the ski jumping community, that really want this to happen. So that jump, Lee has assured us that jump will be built for an event on January 23rd, 2022. It's designed by the premier ski jumper designer in the country, we believe. And we believe it's going to be the best 40-meter ski jump in the state. Why did we go with 40 meters? Because that is the largest jump you can have to host high school competitions. And that's what we will be holding next January. And we are also going to recruit from the Berlin schools. We want to get a ski team going. In the meantime, Chip Henry, the ski jumping coach in Kennett, is all on board. He's going to be our coach. He's going to bring his kids up here. He's going to bring kids from other high schools. This jump will be used until we get our Berlin kids out there. Of course, our Berlin kids probably aren't going to just put on their alpine skis and jump off a 40-meter jump. So we also are planning to build a 10-meter jump this year. Again, Chip Henry and Wayne Peterson have volunteered with their heavy equipment. They've come up and we've gone over the terrain, and we believe where one can be installed relatively easy. So a 10-meter is a very good beginner jump. We also, for our carnival, we'll have bump jumps, little jumps, so the kids can go up there and just get a feel of what it feels like to go over a little bump, and then you go off the little bump, and then you go over the bigger bump. and then you go over the bigger bump, and then you go over the biggest bump. So we're very, 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 very excited about this. You know, the Nansen Ski Club was associated with ski jumping for decades. It's a shame that got lost, but God bless the Nansen Ski Club. They kept the banner waving. They've kept cross country and snowshoeing going. They, as Sean very ably pointed out, they offer a service here, you know, selflessly. So I'm very, very proud to be a part of them. And I can't think of anything else. I've probably gone on too long. Thank you.
Not at all. Thank you so much, Scott. I can tell you folks, just from seeing Scott and his team work, there's just been countless hours poured into this project. So much so that when we log all of our volunteer time in coordination with the volunteer time that we log on the Nordic side of the house, we were actually in coordination with the New Hampshire State Parks, we had the second highest amount of volunteer hours behind the Appalachian Mountain Club, and we're a pretty small group. And that work has actually afforded us an award with the Spirit of New Hampshire Awards, where we received the, I don't know if you want to call it, but best group volunteer organization in the state, which Scott recently received the award for. So just a super dedicated team and super friendly folks. And Scott's work, along with Sean Costello and Jay Poulin from HEB Engineering and the Friends of Nansen group and the network of people that they're connected to, has made this this project a possibility. And truly, I think they're the right people to do it. They've had experience with the jump in the past. And I think if it doesn't happen now, I don't know if it would ever happen. Like, these guys are passionate, they have that connection, and it's really exciting to see it come to life out there. So mark your calendars, January 23rd, first competitive jumping event in almost 40 years at the Nansen ski jump site. So now we'll move over to the Nordic update. This club has been so blessed by the support from not only the business community, but obviously our member community. And when COVID hit last year, the club was fortunately in a place where we could give back to the community. So we decided, in the face of COVID, we're going to waive our member fees. We made no appeal for business sponsorships, and we welcomed anybody who wanted to ski on our trails to come and enjoy the fresh air and beautiful surroundings. We weren't able to open our warming hut or loan equipment or really hold much in terms of events, but the conditions out on the trails were beautiful. People were coming out of the woods with big smiles on their face. Our membership numbers reached back to the level that they were in 2006, when we lost our trail system near Success Loop on the east side of Berlin. We've now this year restored that member count, and our aim is for the sky. We're going to see how we can grow those and get more and more folks enrolled into what we're up to. While we expected to take a hit on our business sponsorships, what we didn't expect was that our member community actually showed up in a big way, and most of them still chose to pay the full price for their member pass last year. And it was a very reassuring sign about the health of the club, and it allowed us to move forward with some much needed updating of our equipment that we'll talk about a little later. You might have saw at the opening of this presentation, we have a new logo, we have some new branding, we've built a new website. The website features a series of video ski lessons. So if you're new to skiing or you have friends you want to take out for the first time, they can really be taken step by step of how skiing works here on Nansen at the Mountain Hill State Park on our trails. You can register as a member online, which our member registration just opened. So if you don't have a member pass, feel free to jump over there and let us know that you want to join the club this year. As well as we have flows for people, for businesses to sponsor the group. And if folks just want to donate money, we've got you all set up there. Beyond that, if folks want to volunteer their time, we now have a volunteer sign up, so you can let us know what sort of things you like to do, and we'll get in touch with you, because most certainly this coming year we're going to need volunteers for the sort of programming that we're putting on. Also, the site has the basics like the club's history, visitor information, and a trail map. In terms of the core operations of the club is concerned, financially, we're in great shape, fortunately. Between the different fundraising activities we undertake, like the road toll we had recently, a charitable series of nights over at the casino in Berlin, dinner dance auctions at the chalet, in addition to member donations and business sponsorships, the club is in very healthy shape, which we're really glad to report. We've actually been able to establish both an operating reserve and a groomer reserve. So when those unexpected challenges come up financially, we'll have some rainy day money to be able to pull that aside and move forward. I think the biggest news to share on the Nordic side of the house has to do with our groomer operations, which is probably the most challenging component of what we do. If you go back looking through the minutes, years past, the primary challenge for the club has been keeping our grooming equipment in good shape and then finding dedicated staff to operate it and maintain it. Our primary equipment is a Bombardier BR-180, which was bought after being used in the 2002 Salt Lake City Olympics. While it still has a pretty low number of operating hours on it, which is great, the machine is unfortunately stored uncovered at the trails, so it's subject to hot sun on the rubber hoses and the hydraulics, and then in the winter it gets caked up with ice. So not the ideal situation for maintaining our equipment, and it's been getting more and more challenging to get mechanics who specialize in working on groomers from the southern part of the state to come up and service it when we need it. Fortunately, there's been some great folks locally who have been helping us out with that. So to address these challenges, we moved this year on a plan to purchase a secondary snow machine based grooming system, which is basically a utility snow machine that's pulling a tow behind Ginsu groomer. And we are also looking into getting a large shelter tent to go over both items so that we can make sure that they are in good working order for a good long time. The club ourselves set aside $9,000 towards that project, and then we applied for 2 grants through the New Hampshire Charitable Foundation and the Tillotson Fund, and we are able to secure an additional $25,000 just dedicated to purchasing this new equipment and protecting it. And our aim is to have all these in place by the spring, so next season we can actually put them into action. Beyond that, the other big news is the fact that this coming year we'll be celebrating the 100th anniversary of the first Winter Carnival in the Berlin area, which took place in 1922. And Scott, I don't know if you actually have that item that we talked about, but it was really kind of interesting timing that somebody had contacted the club recently. And as you can see, what Scott is holding up is the jump trophy from that 1922 carnival, which somebody was cleaning out their attic and happened to come across it, got in touch with us, and Scott went into motion and managed to connect with the people who had it, and we now have the 1922 trophy just in time for the 100th anniversary of that event. Obviously, as we're coming into this coming season, we have a pretty challenging landscape here in the North Country with COVID in full swing. Our warming hut, unfortunately, is likely to be closed again until conditions improve. But we are moving forward and looking to put together the safest and most fun winter carnival that we can. January 17th through 23rd is the week that we're looking at as being our Winter Carnival week. And our plans here at Press Time would be to hold a Burning of the Greens bonfire. We'd have our annual art sled rally at the Big Nansen. We're thinking about a citywide snow sculpture event competition. And then to close out the festivities on a huge note would be the first competitive jumping event in nearly 40 years at the Big Nansen. So super exciting. Our hope is that all of these we're able to pull them off without any complications from the COVID situation. But we want to make sure the public is safe, and we're definitely not going to do anything that puts folks in harm's way. It'll be a landmark year for the club, and we're going to need all the help that we can to pull it off. So if anybody out there feels passionate about what we're up to here at the Nansen and wants to pitch in, either with the jumping events or other events, go to our website and let us know you'd like to volunteer. Like I said, there's a form there where you can let us know what sort of stuff you like to do, and we could use every bit of your help. So for this next section, I thought we would look a little bit at the results of a survey that we recently held with our membership. As I said, we want to get as many voices in terms of how we steer the club. So we held a survey, and here's a look at some of the results. We asked folks, how are you using the trails up at the Milan Hill State Park? The majority of folks, no surprise to us, are primarily Nordic skiing, classic cross country. We have a smaller amount that are doing skate skiing, and then about 20% of our sample set here said that they were snowshoeing. And I guess I should have prefaced this with saying we had 47 people respond to our survey, which is about 17% of our usual enrollment numbers for the club. So as far as surveys goes, this is about on average in terms of what you hear. And I think it's what you hear surveys coming back as in terms of return rates. And I think it is a helpful indication in terms of what our membership feels about the club. So that's how folks use the trails. We were a little nervous about this one. How well do you feel the trail system is maintained during the winter? Fortunately, the large majority either said it was adequate or better. There was a small percentage, about 4%, that said that the grooming left a little bit to be desired for them, which that is our biggest challenge that we're always trying to improve upon. Would ski jumping events at the Big Nansen be exciting for you to attend? Overwhelming majority said yes. A couple of folks not so interested in it. I can tell you I am very excited about it. And then we wanted to get a sense of frequency. How frequent are folks using the trails? And the majority said that they're out there 2 to 3 times a season. The second place was 2 to 3 times a month. And then the more passionate folks about skiing were there once a month or once a week or multiple times a week. We know we run into them out there. Also, we had a couple of open text questions to get a sense of, where folks, what do they like about the club? What don't they like? In terms of what people appreciated most about the club, groomed trails was definitely at the top of the list. We were really excited to hear the friendly feel and the community vibe that we have with the Nansen Ski Club was big. I know for me personally, that was a big attraction for me to the club. I just feel like I meet the nicest people, not only on the board, but out on the trails. And it's just a very heartwarming community whenever you just get a moment to hang out and talk with people. And that's something I think in the coming years we want to invest more time in, is creating opportunities for the entire club to experience each other and be around each other, whether it be parties or group skiing events, things of this sort. It's such a lovely community, and the more opportunities we can make for the community to experience itself, that's going to be high on our list. The dedication of volunteers got some mentions. The warming hut was something folks appreciated, and then just the rich history of the club, leading back to our Scandinavian roots here in the North Country. And it seems like everybody knows somebody who's jumped off of that jump. Somebody's grandfather, somebody's great grandfather jumped off that jump, and by the fact that connects us all together is a lovely thing. In terms of what we can improve upon, grooming, of course. Some folks felt like they wanted more frequency in our grooming. Some had some concerns about how we're going about grooming, that maybe like conditions get a little icy. You can see number 3 there. Some people think we're doing too much grooming and they prefer powder. So getting that balance just right and making sure that we can, make it enjoyable for everybody is definitely in our interest and on our minds. The second place that we could work and improve upon was that the jump work is a distraction. Some folks felt like, hey, this is a very big project, which it is, and we've had a bit of a tentative recent history with the Nordic side of things. As Scott mentioned earlier, in 2006, we lost our trail system altogether. Membership dipped below 100 for the first time ever, or since the very beginnings of the club. And it took a lot of heavy lifting in order to find a new site and get the trail system established. So some folks maybe feel like, hey, this is a really big project. Will it destabilize what's going on in the Nordic side of the house? And I guess on my end, to speak to this, I can tell folks that we have many different voices within the board, and I think there is a sufficient amount of kind of push and pull and tug to make sure that any big undertaking like this is well grounded and that everybody is enrolled in it. And Scott, I don't know if you feel like there's anything you want to say. I just want to leave it open in case, but I feel like we have enough voices within the group with different perspectives that we are moving this along in a way that steps are carefully considered and that different perspectives are represented.
Well, the only thing I'd like to say is the cross country part and the ski jumping part are totally separate as far as funding, and pretty much volunteers too. The Friends of the Big Nansen is a committee of the Nansen Ski Club, but they are not board members of the Nansen Ski Club, and they're not your normal Nansen Ski Club volunteers. So it's a separate thing. So as Sean said, all of these things are vetted. All the funding is netted. Like if the ski jump committee wants to apply for a grant, we make sure that the cross country part or the club at large doesn't have some grant need that they want to apply for. So I personally don't believe it's a distraction. I think it's an addition. Again, it's totally separate funds. They are not commingled. We do share insurance costs and certain items like that. But so I guess that's about it.
Yeah, I think the partnership has worked out well, and it is indeed a massive project. But like I said earlier, my personal belief is we have a window right now where if this doesn't happen now, I don't know how later down the road this jump is going to get rehabilitated. So I'm excited to see it come back to life, and I know many people in the community are, but I know not everybody shares that, and we are reachable. If anybody in the Nansen community has concerns, feel free to contact us. We would be glad to talk with you. But personally, I feel like I said, we have enough voices within the group to represent a number of different perspectives. And Scott and the team have been a real pleasure to work with. So moving on from there, some folks were looking for easier trails, which we resonates with us as well. We'd like to have some long, flat trails. And as a bit of a preview in terms of our future vision, we've been talking with Scott and Sean about the idea of maybe having a trail that starts at Mylan Hill State Park and goes all the way to the jump. So you can go and enjoy the jump site and then back. And my understanding with that land, there's a lot of logging roads, and there's perhaps the possibility of some easier track that's more long distance. That would scratch that itch for the folks who mentioned that on our survey. So we'll keep you updated on that. That would also create some possibilities in terms of competitive tournaments at the jump, where it's the biathlon, I think, right, Scott, where you'd actually ski jump and have a cross-country ski race all connected together. And if you could do that from the jump site, that would, in the scope of the national scene on jumping, be a very appealing thing that we could offer here at the Big Nansen.
Yeah, that would be Nordic combined.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's right. Biathlons with the shooting, right? Okay. And lastly, one area that folks thought we could improve upon is the dog situation at the park. Dogs are welcome at Mylan Hill State Park as long as they're leashed. And I think in the past we've extended that to if a dog is under voice command. We've heard a couple of unfortunate incidents where maybe somebody had been bitten by a dog on the trails. And from the club's perspective, we've certainly had a problem in the parking lot with dogs making a mess and owners not cleaning up after that mess. So that is something we are actually intensely focused on in our letter that will go out to members this year. We'll have a note about the dog situation there, and my hope is that everybody will be good neighbors and we'll be able to tackle this without much of a hassle. So that is a look at our feedback that we've gotten from the member survey. Like I said, at the tail end of this session, which we only really have one section more to cover. If those of you who are on the call have questions or have feedback that they want to offer, we are all ears. And that includes, this is being recorded and will probably be put on Facebook on our Nansen Ski Club page. If you're listening to this later on and you have feedback that you want to offer, please know that we are glad to field whatever question or feedback that you have. This is our club all together, and while we're the board and we make decisions, we want to make those decisions based on what everybody's experience is of the trails and of the the work being done at the jump site. So please feel free to reach out. So lastly, the club has been talking a bit about what would we like the club to look like in 5 years? What things are important to us? So I thought I'd just share a little bit, and it's a bit of a raggedy list. I just kind of put it together from the feedback that we got. It hasn't been fully vetted, but it gives a sense of where our hearts are at and where our minds are at in terms of what we'd like to see. So we want to be inclusive and welcoming to all in the community. Like I said, as I said before, that's across all spectrums, but we're really great about that in terms of keeping our member prices really low. Want to ensure that we focus on fun as much as we focus on competition. Ensure that the club offers programming for youth in the area. Be approachable to beginning skiers. That's where you saw us create these videos for folks who are newcomers. They can get a sense of how to ski on the trails. Develop a wide, reliable volunteer base that where members themselves could actually put on events as part of the club. And then grow our membership to 500 members. That's a big number. We're above 270 right now. And it'll take us a bit to get there, but we feel like with the quality of the programming and the quality of the service we're providing with the grooming and some clever marketing, I think we can get to that number. Beyond that, obviously, we want to maintain financial solvency. I realize I spelled that wrong. I put financially solvency. Like I said, it was raggedy. Ensure that the club's assets are well protected and easy to maintain. Make groomer operation maintenance less of a challenge. Get some flat trails happening out there. Develop more snowshoe trails. Install a nice rugged kiosk with clear, attractive Nansen signage. Continue to partner with local schools. Maybe see, as Scott had said, looking at maybe a jumping team in the high school. Certainly looking at whether we can get a cross-country team together if there's interest. Make our regional winter carnivals the standard approach. So this year the aim was to really loop in Berlin, Gorham, and Mylan working together to put together the this year's winter carnival. Unfortunately, COVID has put a damper on that. We were originally looking at having a comedian at the Medallion in Gorham. Our schedule kind of also got a little bit conflicted too, where we were trying to include the pond hockey tournament that happens on Libby's as part of the Winter Carnival, but our schedules unfortunately didn't line up. But we really want to look at creating a carnival that embraces the cooperation between these 3 towns and cities. Potentially develop a North Country Winter Sports and Recreation Association, and that will be probably really important once jumping takes fire up here and we have some jumps in play. We're already working on developing the small jumps at Big Nansen, host the jumping event annually. I definitely can see that happening at this point. Then the possibility of lighting up the jump so it can be lit up at night and seen. I know when I drive through Berlin, I love seeing the Russian church lit up, perched up on the hill. And I think it would be so lovely when you drive to Milan to see the jump, reminding everybody of just what a beautiful asset we have here in this city. And then create a summer event, which we're actually already making some plans on as well. There's some talk about a Nansen road race that would go from the Heritage Park in Berlin all the way up to either the Nansen ski jump or the Wayside, and having barbecue and some music there. So, you know, extending our reach not only just to the winter months, but also in the summer. So that's a little bit of a look at our long-term vision and some updates on the club. And if anybody has anything they'd like to offer, any feedback, now would be a great time to do it. Feel free to unmute yourself, or if you have any questions. I know we're a small group here, so maybe those questions and feedback will come after the fact with the recording out. But just wanted to leave a moment if anybody wanted to share anything. And I'll take that as we're all set. Don't hesitate to unmute if here in the closing moments something comes up. But yeah, please, Melissa.
So, so currently there exists some sort of trail at the jump right now. Is that correct? And where does that go?
I don't know if there's a trail yet. Is that actually the case? I know there's a road that goes up to the jump, the top of the jump. And I know that there's been some talk with the Northern Forest Committee that they wanted to build, I think, a trail going off of the jump area. But I'm not personally, I have to be honest, I don't know if I've been up to the top of the jump area. I don't know if there is actually a trail up there. Scott, do you know anything about that?
Well, the town of Milan, you know, they got a grant from Northern Forest at the same time that we got a grant to do our small jump. And they are actually building some trails right in that area, but it isn't really, you know, trying to connect the Big Nansen to where we are. But they are blazing new trails there, and they are actually crossing the access road to the jump. So we had to coordinate with them to make sure that our construction wasn't going to hurt them, and so on and so forth. But we've also had talks with the town of Milan. You know, Sean was there, and the other Sean was there, and Jay was there, and they are very, very enthusiastic about helping us develop trails there. And Sean Costello, who has much more of a knowledge of that, because there were cross-country trails there at one time, and as Sean pointed out, there's also logging roads there. So it may not be as difficult a process as we might think. You know, we would, that is definitely on my list. I think it would be a huge addition, both in adding a flatter trail for people, plus, you know, the scenic opportunity of the Big Nansen, and also getting Nordic combined.
Cool, thank you.
Excellent, thanks, Scott. Anybody else here before we close? Looks like your brother just jumped on, Scott.
I just like to mention, I'm sure somebody has already mentioned this, that, with reference to dogs, I wonder if there's a possibility of getting like a dog waste station that where you have rolls of these plastic bags and waste containers, and I'm sure it's already been mentioned, but is that it? I wonder how expensive those kinds of things are, and would it be feasible to do something like that?
Your question is timely, Janet. Waiting back for me in Berlin. I'm in Portland right now. I just got the delivery of our dispenser station and biodegradable bags. So what we're going to, Nansen is a Mylan Hill State Park is a carry-in, carry-out facility. So we couldn't really do a trash receptacle, but fortunately we do have the pit toilet, and we managed to buy bags that are compostable, so folks would be able to grab something from our kiosk in terms of a bag, take care of the waste, and then dispose of it in our pit toilet. So your thinking is right aligned with ours, and hopefully that's going to be up there in the next couple of weeks.
That sounds great. Thanks.
Excellent. Okay, well, thank you all for joining. Yeah, Maureen, please.
I just would like to remind everyone in the community to come up. They're welcome to come up and join us, either snowshoeing or cross-country skiing, and certainly to volunteer. I know we hear a lot of people saying there's nothing to do, and we can certainly give people something to do, and it's fun. So just wanted to put that up for you.
Love that. Yeah, just to echo that, it's the loveliest group of people you could imagine. So if you want to be out in the outdoors, usually one thing I like to say is that if you're in Berlin and it's not such a nice day, it's gray, maybe it's spitting rain in the winter or whatever, go up to Mylan Hill State Park, because it's usually beautiful. The higher altitude affords you a bit more snowfall happening. And again, the people are just so wonderful. So if you've not been up there, make it an aim this year. Come check it out. We're going to have some open free ski days as a part of the Winter Carnival. And we'll probably hold them here and there throughout the course of the season. So go to skinansen.com, check out our website, and follow us on Facebook, and drop us a line if you have any questions or have any interest in joining the team here, bringing winter fun and recreation to the North Country. So with that, I'll thank everybody. Scott, thanks so much again for sharing news on the jump, and everybody else for participating. So great to see you. Hope you have a great night, and catch you out on the trails.